Hi guys, Alex here, back with another video, third day in a row I know, but if you've been checking my channel recently, I did a thread response to Joseph's thread he uploaded in December, and ever since I did that I wanted to do another one. And I've been looking through and I found this thread by McSoappy is his username, and I just wanted to attempt to answer his questions because he's got some great questions. So if you haven't seen his been on his channel or checked out his videos, he's got some great stuff up. I'll put an annotation up there, so check his channel out. So yeah, I'm just going to attempt to answer, I think he's got 8 questions, so I'll just run through them real quick and yeah, do my best. Right, so question 1 is, show some albums that really test out your stereo system and kind of show it off in some kind of way. Something with high fidelity, I think he was saying. I kind of picked 3 out. I don't have a very good stereo system, I must admit. This system behind me, as you can see, only cost me £30. It was originally £750 when new, with all the bits, so you get the amp, CD player, turntable obviously, and 2 speakers. So it's not a very good one, especially the turntable. It's really kind of basic and entry level. So I don't really have anything that shows off kind of the quality that I have in my system, but I do have some records that I think sound best when I play them. First one, he said pick something with a lot of horns, maybe a jazz album. I picked out Louis Armstrong, 20 Golden Greats, and this music just sounds awesome, like silky smooth. It's probably one of my best sounding records, and I love this music. Great songs on this record, like What a Wonderful World, Back the Knife, and as he said, like all the horn sounds and all the brass just sounds amazing on vinyl. So that's one. Second one, I showed in a previous video as one that sounds great, is the Kinks' Sunny Afternoon, and I believe this is a mono pressing, and quite an early one as well, because this is my dad's record. So this sounds really great on my turntable. I have no idea why, just to my ear it sounds really good. So that's the Kinks' Sunny Afternoon, a compilation album released in '67. And finally is the album I've got going on the turntable right now, and one of my newer albums. I showed this in another video as well. This is Mid-Late Courage of Others, and this is an album released in 2010, so it's only a year old. Awesome album. Listening through it now for the 3rd time, just to really get a taste for their music. And the reason this sounds so good is because it's on a 180 gram vinyl, I believe. Just kind of heavy duty vinyl. All sounds better. So yeah, this sounds really nice even on my crappy system. So yeah, those would be the 3 albums that really have the highest fidelity, I guess you would say, and sound the best to me. Right then, so question 2 was pick out an album or say an artist that you don't necessarily respect as a musician, but they've released an album or some material that you really enjoy listening to. And I picked 2 albums actually, by 2 different artists, and the reason I picked these is because some of their later stuff, their more recent stuff, I feel like they've maybe sold out and just kind of succumbed to commercial taste. But they've both released albums that I have really enjoyed listening to, and you know, when I was younger, were big influences on my musical tastes. First of all, we got the Black Eyed Peas, Elefunk, and this album must be 5 years old, maybe even older than that. But obviously the Black Eyed Peas are a huge band now. They just recently performed at the halftime show at the Super Bowl. So it doesn't get much bigger than that. I mean, they are probably one of the most commercial bands in the world right now. And that's not to say this album wasn't commercial. I believe there was 4 number 1s out of it. But I feel like the band was just a bit kind of more raw then, and they really released some good stuff. Like for instance, the song "Where Is the Love," which is probably the most famous track on this disc. That song really kind of resonated with me, and it has a kind of political consciousness to it, which you just don't really find in their music nowadays. It's all a bit overproduced, and I just not a fan of the Black Eyed Peas anymore. But as I say, when this album came out, I was a huge fan. Second of all, I got Jay-Z, the Black Album. Similar story, really. I feel like Jay-Z, once he started like collaborating with like Alicia Keys, and his more recent albums, I've really not been a fan of. But when this came out, again, this has got to be maybe even 10 years old now. Maybe not quite that much. But this album doesn't have a weak track on it, and I listened to this over and over again when I was younger. And it's sad really that Jay-Z has kind of gone commercial, I guess, like the Black Eyed Peas. But this album, I can't deny that it's an important album for hip hop, but also an album that I can't help liking, I guess. So those would be the two. There'd be countless others that I can't think of right now, but those would definitely be two that that fit that question perfectly. Right then, so the next question was, what's the best album or music for a Sunday morning? And I thought quite long and hard about this, and I came to the conclusion that I don't really have a particular genre or artist that I listen to on a Sunday morning, for instance. I just kind of listen to whatever mood I'm in at the time. But I'd say good albums and artists to listen to on a Sunday morning. Of course, Bob Dylan, I listen to him all the time. There's not really a good and bad time to listen to Bob Dylan. I listen to him at all times of the day, 24/7. But albums like New Morning, Nashville Skyline, they're good albums to kind of wake up to, I guess. And then I picked out one more, and that's Buddy Holly. This is the only LP I have of Buddy Holly. It's a gatefold double LP. But no, I'm a massive fan of Buddy Holly, and it just seems like great music to play on a Sunday morning. And I do often just stick it on the turntable when I just get up, on the weekend, and it's wonderful music. Again, like Bob Dylan, I could listen to Buddy Holly at all times of the day, but on a Sunday morning, something quite special about listening to this kind of music. So those would be the two artists I would pick for that question. Okay, so the next couple of questions I'm going to skip past because I haven't actually managed to get myself to a concert yet. I'm quite new to kind of being interested in music, and obviously these vinyl things inspired me to do a lot more and buy more stuff. And this year I got some stuff planned, like I'm going to go maybe to the Hot Farm Festival, where I know the Eagles are performing, and Dylan may be going, Neil Young maybe, and the Killers and some other really cool bands. But then as well as that, I've got some folk festivals I might go to as well. So a lot planned for this year, but up to this point I'm kind of been deprived of live music. Okay, so move on to the next question, which was your favourite live album. And unsurprisingly, I'm going to pick Dylan again. I know, very, very boring. I've mentioned him so many times, but I think this time it's for good reason. I'm picking Live 66, the Royal Albert Hall show. And if you know anything about this album, it wasn't actually recorded at the Royal Albert Hall. It was recorded at the Manchester Free Trade Hall. And this is probably the most iconic show of Dylan's 66 tour. And it's for me, the reason it's so special is because people look back on that tour today, and they say how wonderful the music was, and how it's some of the most amazing live music ever recorded. But at the time, no one really liked what Dylan was doing, and by the time he reached England, the atmosphere when he was performing was becoming almost hostile and very, very negative indeed. And it's not until today that music has much later that this music has become appreciated. And of course, this is the show where a member of the crowd shouted Judas at Dylan, and then someone else said, "I'm never buying your records again." And they're kind of shouting at him really violently from the audience, and Dylan just replied, "I don't believe you, you're a liar," and then turned to the band and said, "Play it fucking loud," and then they kick into like a Rolling Stone, and it's mind-boggling. But yeah, that's why I have to pick Live 66. There's a number of other live albums I love as well, and of course he says you can also mention concert films, so I got these two. Don't Look Back, obviously from the year earlier, his last acoustic tour, and Eat the Document from the World Tour. And I love both of them because they really demonstrate the kind of mindset Dylan was in at the time. They're fly-on-the-wall films by D.A. Pennebaker. He filmed both of these. And this one's kind of more psychedelic and experimental. It's a lot less produced than Don't Look Back, I find, but they're both fascinating. I've watched them both through a number of times. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of live music and live recordings, and those are the ones I have to pick. I'm sorry I've mentioned Dylan so many times. It's just he has to crop up for me in this for this question. Okay, final question is, what genres do you think you're missing the most of? What genre do you want to get into now? And the answer to that one is I'm missing pretty much every genre. I only have about 20 LPs. They're kind of a random, as I said, random assortment of things. So I'm missing quite a lot, well, pretty much everything from most genres. But the genre I want to get into next, I think, is I want to get into jazz. Yeah, I just need to really get a foothold into that genre and listen to an album that I really enjoy and that will really kickstart my interest in jazz. Because I haven't really heard any. I don't know kind of what's good and what's bad. So you know, I just want to find an album that I can relate to and enjoy listening to, and that will hopefully kind of get me started into that genre. I've heard that Coltrane is very good, so maybe might start looking for some of his stuff. But definitely jazz would be the genre that I'm next wanting to venture into. But really, I'm trying to build up, as I've said so many times, I'm just trying to build up a collection of some kind. So yeah, jazz would be the one. But there are a number of genres that I'm also fascinated by. But I'll definitely be looking out for more jazz albums in the near future. Alright, so that just about wraps up this response, guys. Yeah, some great questions there from McSoappy. I strongly urge that you check out his videos and maybe do a reply like I'm doing. So yeah, check out his channel. I have more stuff up soon. As I say, every video, I know. But I'm kind of on a roll at the moment. I'm churning out quite a few videos. So I have much more up soon, so stay tuned, subscribe, leave a comment, and yeah, see you next time. Thanks, guys.